everybody. It's Katie Swayne, Director of Alumni Affairs. We are here with our April alumni highlight, Kevin David, and of course, Randy Friend, the president of the Shepherd University Alumni Association. So I'm going to let Randy take it away and get started with our April highlight.
Yeah, thanks so much, Katie, and welcome back, folks. Hopefully, everybody's enjoyed the last two of our kind of online video interviews that we've done here. This is a really exciting experience for us to kind of try something brand new. And the great part is, we have today with us a 2022 grad, Kevin David, who's authored the book Win Therapy, a story of a VA therapist who grows frustrated with the lack of progress traditional therapy is having for veterans PTSD support groups. She risks everything to take the group on a cross-country motorcycle ride to find purpose, brotherhood, and healing. Kevin, please introduce yourself. Tell us more about your shepherd to professional journey and how it all led to this book.
Okay, thank you so much. As you introduced me, my name is Kevin David, and I graduated in December of 2022. So I was a mid-year grad at Shepherd. I was originally a secondary education major, but I ended up switching to the Regents Bachelor's of Arts program in order to graduate due to some personal things going on that prevented me from doing the student teaching, but it all worked out because I'm still teaching now. So it all worked out for the best. I spent a great 2 years at Shepherd and 4 years total in Shepherdstown. And I just love the community and the university. And any chance I can get back up there is something I always take pretty strongly.
Nice. And so, Kevin, where are you at currently?
I'm in Montgomery County, Maryland, down in
Oh,
Gaithersburg.
nice. Very, very nice. So, very excited to chat about this book. So, I actually saw your post on the Shepherd Football Fans page, kind of promoting that. I reached out to Katie right away. I was like, "Look, we've got to chat with Kevin, find out exactly what the deal is here with this book," which sounds very, very interesting. And so, what kind of sparked the idea for this entire story? Give us kind of the background behind how you came up with this.
Okay, well, first off, it's a very deeply personal story for me. I am a Marine Corps veteran myself
Thank
who
you.
has dealt with some of the struggles and issues with mental health and PTSD in general. So I've gone through the VA. All of these experiences are things that I have lived and experienced myself. I first got the idea a few years ago. I'm a big movie guy primarily, and I really wanted to write a screenplay, but I'll be honest, screenplays are hard.
Yeah.
They're real hard. And so I kind of shelved it for about a year or two. And then finally, last year, I was like, I got to go back to this. As a teacher, I'm constantly telling my kids to develop creative outlets. So I felt like a little bit of a hypocrite when I'm telling them, get more creative, get more creative. It's like, well, what am I doing with my time? So I went back and I revisited this story that I came up with a few years ago, and I put it in book form, and it's been a great experience ever since.
Nice. And so, as you went from that screenplay to the book, what obviously the screenplay being difficult and things like
Yeah.
that, but what was it that you were like, you know what, to finish this, I need to go the path of writing a book, and how did you see, I think two things, right? One is that path for you was like, okay, I'm gonna do this in a book form, but then also kind of what you said about dealing with this somewhat yourself. How have you find that to be therapeutic at all for you as part
Yeah.
of this?
Yes. I really felt the need. I had to revisit this story and I had to get it out in some way, shape, or form, some media, because it's a deeply personal story. And honestly, it helped it helped me write it as much as I'm helping it will help people read it as well.
Nice.
So it was a very soothing and healing process for me to write.
That's
And I
cool.
hope I just share that healing and process with everybody who reads it.
Nice. Very, very, very cool. And so, um, for this type of creative writing, you started at secondary education major while at Shepherd. Now, was
Yes.
that specific in any discipline?
Uh, it's social studies. I'm a big social studies guy.
Okay.
Um, English is and language arts has always been a secondary, but I really wanted to be a social studies teacher.
Nice.
And unfortunately, right now, that's not what I'm doing. I'm teaching, but I'm actually now a special education teacher at the high school level. So I do a little bit of everything, but I mainly support English classes. And that's why I said when I
Okay.
was really pushing for these students to develop creative outlets in their English classes, I had to stop being a hypocrite and I had to do it myself as well.
So yeah, no, absolutely, right. Especially for the population you're working with, right?
Yeah.
Like you're giving them an additional outlet by having that creative writing in those conversations.
Yes.
So did was writing this, because I'm not a writer by any
Yeah.
means. I mean, Katie can tell you I have a hard time putting a sentence together. So I find it so fascinating that you can do this, first
Yeah.
off, right? And so, you know, what gave you that confidence to say, you know, I've had all these past experiences, right? You know, you clearly grew up quick in your past experiences, but then gave you the confidence to really take on a project like this.
Um, like I said, just knowing that I really needed to share these experiences, it really helped me. It's like, I'm going to get down and I used a lot of the skills I learned as a college student at Shepherd and elsewhere in
Yeah.
helping me with outlines and organization and everything. And so it really helped me. It's something I probably would not have been able to do if I hadn't gone back to school at Shepherd and continued my education. I don't think I would have had the organizational skills or the uh, real time management skills to get this done. And I'm
Yeah.
very thankful for Shepherd for providing me with those so I can
Nice.
accomplish this.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And so, you know, walk me through a little bit around. All right, so you got the book. It's recently been published. Is that
Yes, it
accurate?
was published in February 13th of 2026. So just
How
over a month.
exciting. Man, that's awesome. So have you seen any type of traction or feedback, or kind of walk me through what you're now experiencing after putting this book out there?
Yeah, I've been pleased with the I guess the sales and the traction. I've gotten very strong feedback from everyone, to include veteran community, the riding community, people who deal with mental health. This is a book that isn't just pegged for one specific audience, but
Okay.
it really speaks to a broad range of people. Because, like I said, veterans can appreciate this story, motorcycle enthusiasts can appreciate it. Anyone dealing with problems with mental health and healing and recovery can deal with this, or just anyone who really craves that adventure in the open road.
Yeah. And so, you know, did you pull this from your own experience? Do you ride yourself?
I do ride. I'm a motorcycle enthusiast. Before I went to Shepherd, actually, I spent 8 years working for Harley Davidson as a mechanic.
Really?
And so, yeah, as you can see right now, I look much older than your average 20 class of 22 graduate.
Yeah,
Um,
I get it.
but no, I went to school later in life. I did 8 years in the Marine Corps, then 8 years with Harley Davidson, and then COVID really was the kick in the pants I needed, where I got to do something with my life, and I'm
Yeah.
going to go back to college, and I'm going to really help my community in a way I wasn't doing it before.
And so, so tell me, like, you got a bike now, right? Like, people are
Yes,
going to want to know the answer to this question. What are you riding?
I have a 2016 Harley Davidson Street Glide. I
Nice.
love it. Big
Yeah.
old bagger with the radio and the
Beautiful.
windscreen and everything. It is comfortable. I love
That's
it.
awesome. Well, you know, for guys like us who have some, you know, gray hairs and some
Yeah.
mileage, we need things that are more comfortable than, you know, than anything.
Yep.
And so, you know, have you done this type of a trip that you wrote about? Like, have you
I,
done any type of long distance riding?
I have not. I really, really want to, but
Yeah.
I have not. I I'm still haven't gone that far. The longest ride I have done is about 450, 500 miles. So I have
Jeez.
not yet earned what they refer to as an iron butt challenge of a straight shot 1,000-mile ride. I will get there eventually, but
That's
not yet.
wild. Wow. And so, you know, when you kind of mentioned about looking at your background for a second, right? Obviously, Marine Corps for 8 years, working at Harley Davidson. then became and said, you know what, I want to go back and I want to get the education part of my story, if you
Yeah.
will, for lack of a better phrase. You have a number of communities that you really identify to, right? You have the
Yes.
veteran community, the motorcycle community, obviously, from a collegiate standpoint, and even now adding your creative writing community.
Yes.
Um, you said before that you've seen some folks that really kind of appreciate it from all those different entities. As you're telling this story, it's also very much a story of your life. Were you able to pull different either characters or individuals or moments from your experiences into the book that, really stand out to you?
Um, Indirectly, yes. I mean, a little bit of my experiences are shared among a lot of them, but I
Right.
can't necessarily say that any specific character is based on anyone that I actually know.
Yeah.
But I mean, these characters, they represent all of us in the veteran community.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
there is, however, one character in the book, fairly early on. Um, if you read, you might figure out his name is Major Joe Lockhart, and he's very much inspired by a person I know in real life as a double amputee who rides a motorcycle.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
hopefully my buddy John, who it's based off of, he
Okay.
reads it and he really notices that I kind of stole that from real life and he appreciates it and doesn't get mad at me for doing so.
Right. Well, as long as he's not asking for any type of kickback or something along
Yeah.
those lines, right? I mean, we're trying to make the best that we can out of this. So, this is very, very, very cool. And so, having this whole story and writing like that, um, do you see another addition to this book or your next outlet of creative writing? Or, I mean, obviously, there's been plenty of books that have been turned into screenplays, right? So I don't
Yes.
necessarily know that kind of dream is dead by any means.
That that is still the goal.
Okay.
I've actually reached out to a handful of studios, but understandably, they want to see traction first. Nobody wants
Sure.
to commit to a project that only 30 people wanted to read.
Right,
So
right, of course. Yeah.
we're gonna revisit, see how things have gone through the summer, and who
Yeah.
knows? Hopefully, this will end up being a movie at some point. If not, I'm okay with that as well.
Yeah, right.
But it is the goal to be
Yeah.
able to share this story on the big screen. Because, like I said, primarily I'm a movie guy. Like I didn't grow up with a book in my hand at all times. I'd rather watch the movie than the book.
Right.
I've
I'm with you.
changed. I've changed more now that I'm writing. I have a stronger appreciation for the books. But yeah, movies was always number one goal.
Yeah. And so thinking of that idea, um, obviously there's been great books, I mean, I go back, you and I will probably reference this, right? Like Born on the 4th of July, great
Yeah.
movie. There's a book turned into a movie, kind of with this type of sent back, the sentiment back to it. Um, in that idea, are you thinking that there's going to be a new addition to this book, maybe a next novel that you've thought of
Yeah.
from? I mean, we're literally right in the first phase, right? You're about 5 weeks into this that it's been delivered, but once you get those kind of creative juices rolling, I would assume that there's probably more thoughts that come to mind.
There, there are people who have read the book already who have already asked me if I'm going to continue with these characters and continue to tell their stories. And I never want to say never, but I honestly feel like I did a very good job
Yeah,
at telling this story and completing their story. So there's not probably going to be a sequel to Wind Therapy
sure.
or another story with these same characters. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to continue writing. I do have other projects that I'm working on.
Yeah,
Um, I can talk more about that. Like
sure.
I'm currently working on a more, I guess it's more of a horror because it deals with zombies and stuff like that. But
Okay.
again, also with motorcycles because I'm a firm believer is write what you know. That way it always sounds authentic. It's like
Yeah.
I know motorcycles, so I won't be the guy who only writes motorcycle books, but these first two are drawing heavily on experiences and things that I am aware of.
Yeah. No, that's
I'm
super
hope
awesome.
Yeah, I'm hoping to have this one completed sometime in the next 2 months or so, and
Wow.
hopefully maybe released later this year.
Okay, so Kevin, walk me through that, right? Because hopefully we got some students who are thinking about doing creative writing and things like that. Walk me through that process, because to me, from this conversation, right? You delivered, you had a book promoted on February 13th, right? And now you're saying, did I just hear that right? 2 months from now, you're already thinking of having the next book
Yeah, I mean,
done? Like,
I started writing this second project that I'm working on back in like November. So I mean, it'll be 6, 7, 8 months from start to finish, which I mean sounds quick, but
it
I
sounds
mean some
incredibly
people
quick to
take
me.
years to write a book, some people take weeks to write a book. It's all about just whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Um, but like I said, I'm hoping to have at least a first draft completed in about a month or two,
Okay.
and then we'll work obviously from there and hopefully have a release later this year. But to speak to potential listeners and viewers who might want to follow this similar path and process, it has never been an easier time to be an author because there are several self-publication outlets out there. Like Amazon has KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing, where
Okay.
you can write and publish your own story without going through a traditional publishing house. There are also a variety of what they refer to as hybrid publishers, which is what I used, where I published through a company and they provided me with editing services and marketing and all that stuff, but I still maintain all of the royalties. Whereas a traditional publisher, there are no costs up front, but they end up owning your work
Yep.
and all that stuff, and you get kind of what's left over. I didn't really want to do that, especially with my first story and one that's so deeply personal to me. I was like, no, this is my story. I can't give it up. So I went with one of these more hybrid routes just so I could maintain ownership as much as I possibly could.
Yeah. And so did you learn that just by doing research on your own, or did
Yes,
you? Okay.
I
Okay.
did a lot of research on the internet, went through a lot of vetting because there are dozens of these hybrid publishers out there. Some of them better than others, some of them more predatory than others. So I really had to do a lot of research and make sure I was going into business with someone that was going to be the best for me, not take advantage of me, not disappoint any of my readers, and make sure that it's the highest of quality experience that it can be.
That's awesome. Very,
And
very
I'm
cool.
gonna, I guess, plug them real quick. I
Yeah.
worked with a company called Gatekeeper Press out of Tampa, Florida. They are top notch. I cannot recommend them enough for anyone who is trying to go this route.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. So, okay, so kind of, looking at, as you've made this incredible opportunity. I mean, I am very impressed that you wrote a book. Like, I could not imagine doing what you've done in my entire life. Katie, would stop smiling so much, Katie. Um, so that is just incredible. So, seeing that you have all these things going on, right? You're teaching, you're working with a very special population as well, and doing that, and then you're
Yep.
doing the book. How are you managing all that stuff?
Um, just always going 100 miles an hour. Like this past weekend, I actually did a book signing in Pittsburgh at a bookstore in Pittsburgh
Wow.
that thankfully I was able to do while I was on a college visit with my daughter. So I just kind of piggybacked
Oh,
on
wow.
them. So it's a lot of creative use of my time. If I know I'm going
Yeah,
to be somewhere for a weekend, I'm reaching out and trying to squeeze into a bookstore somewhere out there.
that's
Um,
cool.
2 weekends ago, I drove down to Jacksonville, North Carolina for a book signing event where Camp Lejeune, one of the largest Marine Corps bases, is
Yep.
located. I It was about a 6 hour drive, but when I wrote this story and I knew I was going to eventually try to promote it in bookstores, I
Yeah.
knew I had to get to Jacksonville. I hadn't been there in like 20 years since I was last there with the Marine Corps,
I was about to
but
say, yeah.
it's the kind of place where they will appreciate my story.
Yeah. And so, based on that, did you hearing that, are you hearing things back from the veteran community specifically that
Yes,
this like something that really resonates and like
yes,
hits the
I've gotten.
mark?
Oh, sorry. I've
No,
gotten
go.
very strong feedback from veterans that I gave prior access to the book
Okay.
and have since its release. And that's what I really am proud of, because every veteran who has read it has really said it truly is an authentic PTSD and healing experience.
That's
It's
awesome.
something that everyone can relate to, and they can just feel these characters and understand what they're going through. None of it seems fake or manufactured in their opinions. And I'm just really glad that I've had that sort of feedback from the veteran community.
Yeah, giving it that credibility, right? I think
Yes.
it's such a huge piece, especially with that community that
Yeah.
understands the difference between real and not,
Yes.
the details themselves. Well, Kevin, I gotta ask. So, what does your daughter think of your accomplishment?
Oh, she's my biggest supporter,
That's
biggest
awesome.
cheerleader right now. She's going around to her high school trying to tell everyone who will listen to read her dad's book,
That's
and
so
I
cool.
appreciate it. She's great. She's the writer in the family. Since she was probably 8 years old, she's always had a pen and paper in hand, just writing down whatever comes to mind. So I hope I'm just doing her proud, because
That's
she is
awesome.
the real writer in our family. I'm
What a
just,
cool legacy,
yeah.
right? To be able to pass that on. So, Kevin, we appreciate this immensely. You obviously are going to have a new book coming out. We're going to keep eyes on that. This
Yep.
may lead us to a second interview when we find that gets released as well.
Yep.
But where can folks find the book? Where can you kind of tell
Yep.
tell them
It,
where to find it and hopefully read it? Tell us.
it is currently on pretty much all major online retailers: Amazon, Books a Million, Barnes and Noble, uh, Google Books, Apple Books, anywhere where you can buy a book online, you can pretty much find it. It is still not quite yet in stores. I'm hopefully going to be speaking with Four Seasons in Shepherdstown about getting it in there shortly, and then maybe having an in-person event in the near future where people can ask me questions and I can just share my story with readers on a personal level. But that's a fingers crossed moment.
Yeah. Well, keep us informed on that one because if we work that out, then we could probably even do something with our group as well. We'd love to have you come in and kind of make your trip even more worthwhile without
Yep.
just being stop, right?
Yep.
Any final advice, Kevin? Obviously, you got a great history, you've got a great story, you got a great life experience. Anything that like if you were to say to folks, look, this was something that was my dream, any advice for them for folks who want to go ahead and pursue not only just creative writing but any type of outlet as you mentioned earlier?
Um, Basically just never be afraid to fail. Like, it's cliche. I also coach, and it's one of these things that they'll say all the time: you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yep.
It's like the first step towards success is always going to be failure. So be okay with that. Accept that. You're never going to grow and improve as a person until you actually have those stumbling moments. So just keep on pushing through. And the last thing I do want to say is, and I'm sure I'm preaching to a choir here, but Shepherd is an amazing university, and I do everything I can down in Montgomery County to try to tell my students about this gem on the Potomac that's only an hour away. These these kids, they don't know about it, and I'm trying to get as many of them to go enjoy the experiences that all of us have at Shepherd. It's truly an amazing little college town, and you can't do much better than that.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much. And for those who've joined us here today, obviously go check out Kevin's books across all those different types of platforms. If you have a story or know of somebody whose story you would love to hear here as part of our ongoing interview process, we'd love to hear that either through myself, to Katie, or through any of the Alumni Association social media pages. Please reach out. And Kevin, we wish you all the best success. We do look forward, let us know that second book gets published. We'd love to bring you back.
Will do. Thank you for having me. I truly appreciate this.
All right, everybody take care. Thanks so much.